Hey guys, welcome back to New England Crypto. Today's video is part one of a two-part series that we are doing building a custom mining rig for an H510 Pro BTC Plus mining motherboard that Tech Shinji had sent us in part of some collab content that we have coming up, including this. So take a look at this and stay tuned for the rest. Thank you all for joining us. Let's go.
For this build, we are repurposing a traditional 6 GPU mining rig frame by doing a ton of custom measurements and adding some of our own wooden hardware. Here I am marking out the motherboard standoff screw holes onto the piece of wood that we'll be attaching the H510 to. And here is Mrs. New England Crypto making sure that I did it right. You really want to get the motherboard standoffs to be as straight as possible. We are blessed to have a stand-up drill press here at the farm. I also wanted to note that we marked the drill bit with electrical tape after lining it up side by side with the threads on the standoff. That way there, we could see by the drill bit markings exactly how deep we needed to drill. On to prepping the hardware. Lining up the standoffs with the drilled holes and screwing them in as straight as possible will go a long way here. So take your time. There's no rush. You want to make sure it's right. This is the last one. They're all in. Awesome. A quick test fit, and then we'll attach the wood to the frame using zip ties with screw holes on them with a short, stubby screwdriver. Let's take a look at how she does it. So she has the wood off of it to give herself space, and she's putting zip ties on the four corners to prepare herself to put the wood back on and be able to work with it. The wood is back on and everything lines up. Thank God for this stubby screwdriver. Even Rachel's little hands wouldn't be able to get in there with a full-size screwdriver. Now that we've shown you how she's attaching it, let's take a closer look and do a stability test. There we go, looking good. Now let's get the motherboard screwed into these standoffs that we just installed. Take your time with these screws and the threads in the standoffs. They can definitely be a little tricky. And some of these mass-produced screws definitely may not be as perfectly threaded as we would like. I can honestly say that we ended up with a small handful in our trash bin. But no negativity here. We just stayed positive, went through the bad ones, threw them out, found the good ones, made it happen. Time to assemble the ASRock H510 Pro BTC Plus mining motherboard. We have a full assembly video for this motherboard on our channel that I'll link in the description below. So for now, we'll just show the CPU, cooler, and the RAM. As we said in the assembly video in the description below, this is Mrs. New England Crypto's first time assembling a motherboard of any kind. I personally think she did really well. We kept that video and this video both in real time without speeding them up so people could see how long it might take for a new builder so that they knew what to expect of themselves. Even if it takes you a little longer, or if you get it done a little quicker, that's great. Then it was time for us to test fit the GPUs. This is when things really got interesting. Not looking good. As you can see, the GPU bracket hits the wood before it can seat down all the way. So on to the quickest and most realistic fix that we could think of with the supplies that we had, the double standoff. We measured everything out, and then we just added a second standoff onto each of the standoffs that we had already installed onto the piece of wood. Now for motherboard test fit number 136. Just kidding, but it did start to feel that way around this point. It's all good now, though. Let's grab a graphics card and measure out the custom guide rail that we need.
One and a quarter.
Okay, let's finish this custom guide rail for the GPUs. We found the perfect hardware to go under the piece of wood that we already had. We cut the piece of wood to be the same width as the piece of wood for the motherboard. Let's double check with the GPU before securing. Wait, did I grab the right one? Yep, I did. Let's keep this moving. And perfect. I'm attaching this guide rail with zip ties for now because we didn't want to drill the holes out that are in the metal rail in case we want to swap this back over to a traditional 6 GPU frame again. If you're still watching the video at this point, thank you very, very much, and keep your eye out for part 2 of finishing up this custom build.